Fantastic contest. I think we'll probably be talking about Timmy McCarthy's goal maybe tonight, but I think Owen Kelly in the first half was true for a goal as well. But credit to both sides. Cork, everything that's happened in the past is now water under the bridge. Fantastic game. I really enjoyed it from start to finish, and I think just about overall Tipperary deserved to win it. But I think on the sideline, I said it during the commentary, they'll be asking questions about some of the substitutions, whereas Cork used their sub bench much better. But overall, I think Tipperary, just about having the tougher league final, the tougher league, it stood to them the last few minutes. They saw John Gardner going down injured, and overall Tipperary just about deserved their win.
Well, at half time, Tipperary led by 5 points, but a minute into the second half, Seamus Callanan scored a cracking goal, and it would seem at that stage 113-9. Well, then Tipperary were sailing. But Cork's passion and pride, well, they can take full credit for this. They're getting applause, they're getting that slap on the back, and I know they'll be heartbroken and disappointed because they've lost to Tipperary here today, but by gosh, have they shown pride in that jersey. And Dennis Walsh, I'm sure when he speaks to Claire McNamara, our reporter here later on, that he will talk about pride. Cork are heading to the qualifiers. Tipperary are heading to play Clare on June 21st in a Munster semi-final, and it should be good. Full-time score in Semple Stadium, Tipperary 119, Cork 19 points. Back to you, Michael.
And your commentators, of course, were Marty Morrissey and Michael Dignan. We're back here in the studio to reflect on that game. I'm going to reflect first with Tomás Mulcahy. Tomás, a fascinating game in many ways. Tipperary, the Munster champions, have put up the first defence of that, and yet Cork have also come out of this with huge credit.
Yeah, certainly. And it looked at half-time, as we had said, that maybe Tip would pull away, and a couple of minutes into the second half and the goal goes in and they go 7 points ahead. You say, yes, this is a roller coaster ride for Tipperary, but I must give credit to this Cork setup, being honest with you. I mean, they've took an awful lot of stick themselves over the last number of months. I said you'd want to be a fly in the wall inside the dressing room. Imagine being there at half-time because they came out a different team, made a few positional changes, put John Garner into midfield, Tom Kenny back to half-back, and used their bench very, very well in the second half period as well. And only for a few opportunities, few chances that they didn't take in that second half, they would have won that match, because Tip, on the other side, lost their way completely, and a lot of substitutions in that second half by guys who had given major performance in the first half period. And I think the one man maybe that everybody questioned today was maybe number 3 at Owen Cadigan at full-back. He had a colossus game, and it's great for him, great for his confidence. Last year, that man decided he'd give up on the Cork senior football team. He wasn't getting a run, he wasn't getting a break. He's got a break with the Cork senior hurling, and he's taken his chance brilliantly today. Izaki at the other end played much better in the second half because the ball, as we mentioned, was much more direct, straight into him, and he caused endless problems inside there. So 2 evidence today. Cork will be happy with those. They'll be disappointed that they lost the match, but there's a lot to take from this game.
And Gerlach now, no disgrace in defeat at all from Cork. I'm sure you would agree with Tomás.
Absolutely no disgrace whatsoever. They were actually terrific in the second half. The secret of the second half, of course, was the dominance of that half-back line. When they put Tom Kenny back, as they did against Galway last year in the second half. When Kenny goes back there, he seems to play much better. Garner played absolutely fantastic at midfield. They played direct balls straight into the full forward line. Now, I disagree with Michael Dignan, as he disagreed with me. I think when your players are being cleaned out, as they were, as McGrath was and Cannon were by Sean Hogan and by Ron and Curran,
yeah.
You had to do something. You have to be on something else, beyond other players. And eventually Benny Dunn was the key man at the end, got 2 points, that opened up that gap when it came down to a 1 point lead. So Sheedy behaved very well, and Tip will be delighted to come out of a hole like this, and it'll do all the good for their confidence, and I think they can only go forward from this.
Let's find out how delighted they are, because we're talking now to their manager, Liam Sheedy.
Yes, indeed, Liam Sheedy and his daughter Aisling are with me. Liam, what a great contest. Cork really threw everything at you in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose, in fairness to Cork, they'll be wondering how they didn't take us. In fairness, the goal was probably a big decision, it was touch and go. He gave the penalty, we made a great save, and they put the 65 wide. And, in fairness, there was a few times where they had chances and didn't take their chances. But I knew it was going to come down to the last 2 minutes of this game. I never expected anything else. Fabulous team, ever since that bunch have got together, they've done their county proud, and they put in an enormous performance. And, for a team that, we're supposed to be here and supposed to be there, you'd have to give them full credit. We were put to the pin of our collar, and we got the breaks today, and really that game today came down to breaks. But delighted with the heart and the effort that my lads showed as well. They never stopped going, right to the finish, 72, 73 minutes. It was really warm out there. We ended up, I think, putting in 15. starting 15, had 5 come off the bench and had a blood sub as well. So it was full shoulders to the wheel, and just delighted with the victory, because I knew, people were saying it was going to be this, it was going to be. I never, Munster Championship, it's a fabulous competition, and we're delighted to have snuck in. But the funny thing is, we're just in as far as where we started last year, because now you just end up in the semi-final. But it just delighted with the win today.
You did dominate the first half, maybe should have been more ahead. Then the goal in the second half, it looked like you were on your way, but you lost your way a bit.
Yeah, we did lose our way, but I mean, you're not going to hold a team like Cork. They're going to have periods of dominance, and we expected that today. There's always going to be periods where the game will ebb and flow. And the good thing was the goal did give us a little bit of breathing space. And I tell you what, we needed all that breathing space in the finish. And just it was hot. You couldn't catch your breath. I'd say for anyone watching, it was edge of the seat stuff. It was definitely edge of the sideline stuff. Anyway, whatever out edge of the seat. But we're happy. We're delighted. It's first round of the championship is always a big one. We had a lot of